Hello everybody and welcome to my channel today, or our channel. This is the card that we're going to be making today, and this was actually a really exciting card for me to make. I used some of my awesome new Framelits here, and I used this stamp set which you might not have seen before. So before I show you how I make it, let's look at some of the products that we use. So this is the coolest set of Framelits. It's called Layering Alphabet, and you can see the new Stampin' Up! Branded Framelit kit. So let me show you how it works. So in here there's a couple pieces. So we have each of the letters of the alphabet, and there's the rest. But what you can do, you can either use them individually or you can pair them with a letter. So they fit in like that, and you run it through the Big Shot. Now I'll show you a few samples of how this cuts at the end of our presentation like this. But in our card today, you will see that I'm just using the letters, and I'll show you how we do that. So we're going to be using that. Good. Okay, so I'll just put that aside and I'll look at some of the other things that we're going to be using. We're going to be using this stamp set here. Now, this is a stamp set that was the $1 million stamp set for Connie Fitzgerald. Now, she earned sold $1 million worth of products last year or the year before, I can't remember, and we're going to be using this particular stamp down here. We've got some twine that we're going to be using. So something that's different here is this card that I'm holding right now, that I made earlier, is made from Night of Navy and Calypso Coral. But today I'm going to change it up. I'm going to be using some of the new in colour, the Grapefruit Grove, and instead of Night of Navy, I'm going to be using Blueberry Bushel. And so the twine, instead of using it in the Night of Navy, I'm going to use it in the Grapefruit Grove. But aside from that, I'm going to make the card like this. So first of all, let's do the stamping. So what we'll need is the piece of cardstock that I'm going to be stamping on. I've got a clear block, and I'll get the stamp. So this is the one that I'm going to be using. Now you could use the Stamparatus if you wanted to. I chose not to. I just want to do it really quickly and stamp away. So this is the new stamp. So you flip it open and push it in. It's pretty good, isn't it? So what I just want really one person, bottom and center. So aside from that, everything else is just random. Perfect. Excellent. So pull it back, over, done. No more stamping required for this card. So I'll just put that aside, and now let's work on these letters. So first of all, let's get the letters that are required. So we need a H, no more there. We need an A. We need a P, OPQR. So yeah, it's back to front, so it was a bit difficult there. And we need a Y. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay these out on the big shot. Just like that, and cut it out. So let's bring the big shot over. There we are. So I've got my magnetic plate there. And I'll leave some room because I need to cut out another one for the P. Very good. So you can see what we're left with. We're left with a letter and it's still attached to the card. So you can imagine that if that other piece was attached over here, it would go to the end. And so then it would be a loose piece. But all we just need to do here is just use some snips and cut out the rest. So that's what we're going to do now. We're just going to cut that through. So I've got a pair of snips, and all I'll do is I'll just make it a bit easier to use. Okay, so a lot of the edges are straight, so it's really quite easy for you to cut it out. Oops, that was the chair. Trust me about that. Pop that out. Very good. So I've got all that. So this one here, this is the P. So we've got a straight line, and so all I'll just need to do is cut along that straight. Looks good. Same with this other P, the second P. You can just cut a bit on the side to make it look like it's curved. And the same with the H. So we've got a start point, we've got an end point, and so all we need to do is cut from one point to the other. Perfect. Now with the Y, so if we turn it over, we can see we've got that point that line that we can line up with. Cut there, and we've got that line that we can also cut with. And we can see on this side there's a slight curved edge. So we'll just take the corner off there. There we have the Y. Now the A is probably the most difficult one. So if we turn it over, we can see that we've got a line there. Not sure if you can see it there, but we've got a slight line that we can cut. So we can go along there, and then we'll just slightly curve this. Like that. So then this part is probably the hardest one. We've got a start point there, and we've got an end point there, and we've just got to cut in a curve. So unfortunately there isn't a line that we can cut along, so do your best by eye. How does that look? It's a bit wonky, so I'll just cut a little tiny bit off and hope that that's a bit better. How does that look? I think that looks pretty good. So there are the letters. Happy. You know, that's the first thing I thought. Excuse me. That's the first thing I thought of when I thought of this stamp set. It's like someone going, yes, I've done it. And it's probably, this stamp set is probably, like when you think about the cycling, some of the sentiments, they sort of indicate to me initially that it was like a encouragement, that sort of thing. And so this is an awesome way to use this stamp set. Someone saying, yes, like a fist pump, that sort of thing. And that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that image there. So now it's time to assemble our card. So what we've got is a card base made from blueberry bushel, as I mentioned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my trimmer over, and I'm going to, that was the chair, I'm going to use the scoring tool and score at 14.8. Good. So then we have a piece of Grapefruit Grove. Wow, that's a cool combination, isn't it? And then I'm going to stick that down there. So first of all, I'll stick that down with some Tombow. Whoops. Just got a piece of cardstock here. I'll just smudge that down just to make it a bit nicer. Beautiful. Okay, so one other thing that we've got here is a piece of vellum. So I have a piece of vellum here. So I'm just going to tear that, and I'll tear it about that thickness, and I want it to sort of go down a bit, so hopefully that's, yeah, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, what about that way? Let's go that way. So now I'm just going to stick the letters down. Like that. So what I used on the other card was some mini dimensionals, and they're perfectly sized for this. Here they are. So I'll just turn these over and stick them. Good. So, done all that. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure that it's going to line up. So I'll have a Y there, I'll have the P there, I'll have the other P there, I'll have the A there, and I'll have the H down here. What do you think of that? Lines up okay? So we'll take them off one at a time. So it's perfect. It's exactly how I'd like it. So what I'm going to do is turn that over, and I'm going to use the locations of the dimensionals. I'm going to use some of them to stick on another set of dimensionals behind it. And if I do it directly in the same spot, chances are you won't see it from above. So that's just a little tip that I use when I'm using a couple of layers of dimensionals, which I know you all love to count how many dimensionals I use. And I'm sure there'll be some people who make comments on this video that tell me exactly how many dimensionals I've used on this card. So I'll just peel those back, and I know how much you love watching me peel dimensionals, but I've got it down to a fine art. So this time you're probably not even going to see any fast forwarding on this part. Maybe just a little bit. Taking them all off? Yep, good. Okay, so let's actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait and stick that down once I've stuck the other part of the card down. So I'll just put that over to the side for now, and I'll stick this down here. No, wait. So first of all, what I've got to do is add the string. And so this is the string that I'm going to be using. Now this string came a part of a set, here it is, just over here. It's the Nature's Twine, and it comes in a set of 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap that around a few times. So let's tie that around. Oh, it looks really good in that colour. I'm happy about that. Let's just wrap it around again. So, what can I do? I'll wrap it around there. I'll come over here. How does that look? Happy with that? I am. I think it looks quite good. Let's see if I can just bring it down a little bit. There we are. So what I'm going to do is, just to make it a bit tighter, I'm going to use some more dimensionals on the back of this, and I'll just bring that down a bit just to stick it down. So that will go just bumped that, sorry about that. Looks nice. So then the finishing touch will be to add this. And there we have it. There's our happy card. So this is the original one that I made, and this is the one that I made using some of the new ink colors and some of the new products that we have. So that's it. What do you think? I'd love to hear what you thought. Thanks so much for watching. Hang by and I'll show you some of the other uses for these letters. Okay? So I'm back now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show some of the ways that we can use, well, really one other way that we can use this layering alphabet die, and using particularly this piece over here. So it's going to be really cool, and I'm happy to show you this. So let's get to it. I'll just bring my big shot over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my piece of cardstock, and I'm going to get this piece. Now this is the height of an A5 piece of cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up. You'll notice that on the edge there are these two little guides. Now these are really good. They're probably sized appropriately for different paper sizes. But what I really like about it is that regardless of what size cardstock you're using, you can see that it lines up directly with the A5. So that must be what it's for. But regardless of what size of cardstock you are using, you can line it up. So whatever the space is over here, you can do it by eye. And I'm sure there's a way you can probably rule some lines to make sure it lines up. So while I've got this here, see that these are some notches over there. One is straight and one is curved, so you can't put the letters in upside down. So you just put the letter in like that and it fits, and you lock it in like that. So let me just line that up again. There we are, and I'm going to put this in like that, and there's a continuous line there. So I'll just cut that out. And there we have the letter. Okay, so I'll just move that out of the way for a sec. So you can make whatever words you want. And so that's what each of the letters looks like. And so you can do a variety of different things. You can cut out other letters and you just line them up. Can you guess what this is saying? Ta-da! How cool is that? That is so cool. You can play around with the layering. You can, there's lots of different things that you can do. And like I've shown you on my card, you can actually get rid of this part and it looks awesome as well. So that's just one of the ways that this set of dies works. Okay.